Hello family, and welcome to another practice with me video. Today I'm calling this practice floor play. So everything that we're going to do is on the floor. There might be some yin, there might be some movement. Remember, this is kind of a practice that I've geared for myself. So yeah, I'm just inviting you in just to practice with me. Please do what works best for you. The practice of yoga, especially whether it's physical or other practices of yoga, really has to do with responding to what your body, your mind, and your spirit need at that time. So it could look different at different times. And this is an example of how I take care of that. So for physically anyway. So let me show you my setup. I do have a blanket, a firm blanket. A towel will also work. So grab that. I know I'm going to be using that today. I also have a yoga strap. You can also grab a belt or any kind of strappy thing. I might be using that today, but for certain, I am going to be using my blanket. And let's get started. So, all right, did you see how gracefully I got on the floor? That was awesome. So I am going to be starting with a pose that's kind of intense, I'm not gonna lie. So I'm gonna give you some other options. It's called Vajrasana or Thunderbolt. And I'm going to be practicing this with a rolled blanket placed under my knees. So I'm not gonna use the whole rolled blanket. I'm gonna just make a little mini bolster out of the blanket. I'm just sort of folding it up like about right there. Once I get into the pose, I can tell you some other things that you can do instead. So it's about this thick. And the way I get into it is I kind of roll it down till the crease of my knees. I'm turning toward you. And then it's not pretty. So I kind of bend, so I'm in this little squat. I use my hands and I squeeze it there. And then I just sit. Now, what this does is you can do it with a yoga mat too. So if you have another yoga mat, you can make it super skinny, roll it up halfway or a quarter of the way and do the same thing. The bolster or mat or a towel, if you're using it, helps to roll the calf flesh down, making space between the knees. Now, if you are a person that cannot sit on your knees, also my feet are together, so I'm not it's not Virasana or hero pose where your knees are together and your feet are kind of splayed out. It's not like a W sit. My knees and my feet are together. You can take your knees and your feet about hips width apart. Make sure they're running parallel though. So you're not sitting between your feet here. You're sitting, basically, if I didn't have this here, I'd be sitting on my heels. But I don't want to do that. And I use the rest of my blanket here to kind of squish underneath to give me a little bit of cushion. So if you can't be here, you can also come to bound angle. So you're sitting on your bottom with the soles of your feet together, the knees splaying open. You can do this in cross legs, especially if that's work for you in the inner thighs. You can do this without the blanket or the towel or the mat and just sit on the heels. With this, it is a little intense. I'm doing this on purpose. I've been doing a lot of working out and walking, and I feel like my calves are getting strong in an unbalanced way, so I want to soften this out. So from here, I relax my shoulders, I lift the pit of the belly and let my tailbone just descend. Turn my palms up here, and you can just close your eyes and breathe. Focusing on softening the jaw. Again, for me, this is pretty intense. So Um, yeah, you're gonna kind of watch me go through it. When I was studying, my first traditional yoga training was at the Temple of Kriya Yoga, which is based in Chicago. And like every class, our asana teacher would have us start in this. It was like torture. We would all kind of go, and he knew it, but he really felt it was important to soften the over strength of the calves. Like you want balanced strength of the calves because it can start to cause issue in the knees and other things. And it makes the other poses so much sweeter when you, especially if you understand the deeper actions. So I'm starting today. This is a pose I do not like. I'm not going to lie. But in the practice of yoga, it's important to, again, respond to what your body needs and do it in a way that works for you, but not just like in life, not everything in your yoga practice or your mindfulness practice is always like 100% yummy. Sometimes it shouldn't be painful. So there's a difference between discomfort, like, oh, I really don't like this, and pain. Because pain, if it's hurting, that means something's wrong, move out of it. But if it's discomfort, figure out where the discomfort is, decide if the discomfort is actually in your body, or if the discomfort is really mental, because sometimes it's just in your mind. And see in the discomfort, like, what are you avoiding? A lot of times we do things to avoid the stuff we don't want to do, even though we know we need to do it. And that shows up on your mat as well as just in your daily life. So I decided to bring you along with me while I choose not to avoid this pose because that's what I want to do. And talking through this is helping me to stay nice and steady instead of letting my brain go, hurry up, get out, get out, get out. But I'm just kind of hanging out here nice and steady. Connect with breath. I'm only going to stay here a couple more breaths. Maybe if you're sitting in bound angle with the soles of your feet together and the knees out to the side, maybe you decide to take it as a little bit of a forward flexion. If you are sitting here in bolt pose or Vajrasana, try to make sure you're finding mountain pose so that you're not leaning forward, but let that spine become aligned where shoulders over hips. You may not be able to see it from this view, but I'm working on shoulders over hips. Ah. And then wherever you are, take a deep breath and sigh it out. And then if you're sitting in bound angle, take the hands to the outer knees and just gently press them together. If you're in Vajrasana, I'm going to actually come to all fours. Oh, I'm moving the blanket. And then I'm going to slowly make my way to down dog, but I'll start first with extending one leg. Oh. And then the other. I've got my Spartan socks on. They're probably going to slide off. Spread the fingers, let the shoulder blades descend, and from the shoulder joints, kind of bend the elbow a little bit and roll the elbow creases toward the front edge of the mat. Spread fingers, tuck the toes, and slowly lift to down dog. Now you can walk your knees in place, swivel the hips, And then gently soften the knees to the floor. From here, cat-cow feels pretty good for me, so I'm gonna come into a cat-cow. You can curl your toes if you want. I'm keeping the tops of the feet down. As you exhale, round the spine. Inhale, roll the shoulders down and back, lift the seat, lift the heart. Careful not to throw the head back. And continue. Kind of going back and forth. Using your exhalations to round. Your inhalations to lift. I'm coming into neutral spine, extending my left leg back and up just about the height of the hip, and then the right arm, so opposite arm, opposite leg, extend. Draw the navel in. Don't let that back sway. That's my tendency to be here, so really lift and extend. Jaw is loose, gaze is slightly forward, and release and go the other way. So first I extend to my right leg this time, and then lift. Keep the leg strong, left arm reaches. Keep the breath, jaw loose. Eyes are forward. And release. And then come to sitting. That's what I'm doing. And extending the legs nice and wide. That feels really good. This is in the way, so I'm going to move that. Deep breath. Arms reach. And exhale. This is to my left. Really keeping, you can't see because I have socks on, but spreading through the toes, lifting up on the front thigh muscles. Getting that nice, beautiful length in the side body. And then gaze upward. Back of the neck stays long though, so I'm not doing this. And then I feel like rolling so that my chest is in line with this left leg. It could be your right. And then just extend. Heart extends. Maybe you stop here and you're just holding on to the ankle, but for me today, holding on to that foot feels really good. And then find your edge, like where your body stops, and then just sort of soften in. Be careful not to overstretch the hamstring. So if you feel a huge pull here, that is an indication that the hamstring is actually contracting to protect itself, so back off a little. You want to feel an extension, but not a huge pull. And then walking up. And we'll go the other way. This is not like the best situation for the microphone. Arms reach, and then side bend. Keep the gaze soft. And then rotate the other way. And here, it's a great time to honor both sides of the body the way they should be. This hamstring for me, which is my right, is really tight. This whole right side of my body is always really tight. So if I'm going to listen truthfully to what my body needs at this time, I could grab the foot and come forward. Probably not the best idea. Deep breath. And then slowly walking up and crossing legs. Oh, that feels good. Inhale to reach. Exhale, rotate to your right. And coming back to center, Recross the legs, other leg on top this time. Inhale to reach, exhale, rotate. Nice long spine, dropping shoulders, and then slowly coming center. Inhale, take a deep breath in, and nice sigh out. That is it for the day. I don't know if you can hear, but my alarm is going off because I have a meeting with a client in a few minutes. Maybe you can't hear it. That'd be really nice if you didn't. But anyway, thank you so much for joining today. I know it's a super short practice, but you don't need a whole lot to really make it work. Pretty soon, I'm going to be releasing an 11 class gentle flow package that is so amazing that you're going to just want to have it. So next time I will be talking about that a little bit more. Until then, namaste.